So imagine that you are on the Titanic. However, you're not the Leonardo DiCaprio of the story. But on the flip side, you are one of the lucky survivors on the lifeboat. And to your right, you see 3 people, and to your left, you see 1 person. And they are all drowning. And now, here's the catch. You only have time to go either right or left. So which way would you go? Now, I'm thinking most of us here would say to go right and save the 3 people. But let's backtrack for a moment and think, well, what if? What if the person to the left is actually your mom? Now, which way would you go? Well, I think most of us here, if not everyone, would say that we would go left and save your mom, especially if your mom is in the crowd right now. Hey, Mom. Well, but really the question here is why? Why do we have this intuition that the right thing to do was to go right and save the 3 people? And then when we realize that the person to the left is actually our mom, why did our intuition change? Right? And to be honest, I don't know the answer to that question. But what I do know is that this shows that rights and wrongs are not so easy to distinguish. Right? Sometimes there is no right and there is no wrong, and we forget that. And so in a lot of times I do think that there is a very blurred line in the middle between what's right and what's wrong. But there's this idea that there is a right, there is a wrong. And this idea is engrossed in so many of our minds. Why? Because I believe this is because our educational system, if we think about it, students, we spend pretty much half of our lives in school. And the educational system we're in is primarily based on teachers telling us what is right, reading textbooks telling us what is right. And then we're given this test. Okay, this multiple choice answer test that is based on A, B, C, D, E. Right? We are given A, B, C, D, E options and asked to circle the right answer and disregard all the wrong ones. And when you have the teachers, the textbooks, the test, what does that result in? Students who are only focused on getting that right answer. But do we actually know why this is right? Why is this right or why this is wrong? Right? We are just focused on learning what the teacher deems is right, but we forget to ask the important question of why this is actually right in the first place. For example, I was talking to a friend, a classmate, and we were in class talking about democracy and communism. And in the conversation, I turned to him and I asked, so hey, why do you think communism is so wrong? Why is it so bad? Why is everyone saying that it's bad? And he turned to me and said, well, communism is bad because it doesn't work. And it doesn't work because it's bad. So, of course, it's bad and it's wrong. And I just stood there and I was like, what? I didn't really quite understand the logic there. But I think this just shows that we don't really understand why this is right or why this is wrong. But we just take what everyone else tells us that this is right and this is wrong. And this brings me to my next point of the significance of our society overvaluing right and wrong. Right? Conflicts and wars start because one side believes that they are wrong, while the other side is one side believes that they are right, while the other side is wrong. And if we take religion, for example, one of the main reasons why humankind has been going to war against one another for centuries in the past, and even today. If we boil it right down, these conflicts and wars of religion primarily consist of one side saying that this is right, saying that Jesus Christ is who we should be worshiping, while perhaps Allah, Buddha, or other gods and goddesses are wrong. Or this is the version of the Bible that is right. That's wrong. This is the interpretation, and that's wrong. And so you see these conflicts and wars are started because one side firmly believes that this is right, and whatever doesn't fit their definition of right is automatically wrong. And why do people think this way? It's because as we were growing up, our society, our educational system, kept telling us that there is a right and there is a wrong. And when we become so engrossed in this idea, so focused on the idea that there is a right, there is a wrong, we forget to ask why. Why is this even right? Why is this wrong? Or is there even a right and a wrong to this case? And so, ultimately, I think that if everyone can just take a step back right? Take a step back and see the bigger picture that, hey, maybe I'm not right, or maybe we're both right, or both wrong, or perhaps there isn't a right and wrong in this case. Then I do think that there can be world peace one day, when conflicts start to vanish and wars diminish because we learn to see things from different angles. We learn that perhaps there isn't a right and a wrong. And when this happens, when we can do this, world peace can be achieved one day. And so really, our society needs to be careful about how kids and teenagers of today are being raised. Because after all, aren't we supposed to be the leaders of tomorrow? But how are we supposed to lead? Supposed to come up with solutions for global issues? Supposed to make society prosper when we can't even cooperate, when you can't even discuss different opinions, when you can't see things from different angles, right? So here's my challenge to you. To all students out there, I dare you, no, double dog dare you, to really ask your peers why. Ask your teachers why. Ask your parents why. Ask why they think this is right or why they think this is wrong. Hear what they have to say and then make your own judgments for yourself, rather than simply taking in what everyone else is saying. And then to all teachers out there, I challenge you to ask your students why. Ask why they think this is right. And then explain to them why you believe this is right. Because simply by saying answer choice A is obviously correct may not be so obvious to some. And to everyone else out there, next time you get ready to dive into an argument, really just take a step back and remind yourself that, hey, maybe I'm not right. Or maybe we're both right. Or both wrong. And sometimes you just don't know. Thank you.